Well, thank you so much, everyone, for being here. My name is Eva. I'm the program coordinator for DataShare, Santa Cruz County. For those of you who are less familiar with DataShare, it is an online interactive data platform that has over 350 well-being indicators that help us tell a story of our community strengths and gaps. And DataShare is a collaborative project with multiple partners, a steering committee and administrative operation partners that help us get the work done. We work with the Health Services Administration, with the County Office of Education, with United Way, and with Pajaro Valley Health Trust. And CORE is also one of our strategy partners on the steering committee, and I'll let Nicole introduce our partnership. Welcome, Nicole.
Thanks, Eva. So I'm Nicole Young, and I'm one of the co-facilitators for Core Investments, along with Nicole Lezin, who could not make it here today. But we are both big fans of DataShare because, probably like many of you, we've been in roles where we've had to try to find community data to help tell a story about both community needs and progress, and always, encounter that challenge of like having to look in different places to find different data and figuring out which source do you use and how do you weave it together to make a compelling, cohesive story. And there are so many tools on DataShare that really help minimize that struggle. We're, such big believers in it that when we were creating the core results menu that looks at those 8 core conditions for health and well-being and the kinds of community level goals or impacts that would help us get to equitable health and well-being, that we wanted to be able to pair that with actual community data. And so it made such perfect sense to have that core results menu live on DataShare and be tied directly to available data. And so that's been a big project of ours, Nicole's and mine, over the last couple of years, and doing that hand in hand in partnership with DataShare. And it's been a really, fantastic project to see kind of evolve and develop over the last few years. And for those of you that are thinking about or have been following along in the recent conversations about the county and city of Santa Cruz planning for their next funding process, tools like DataShare, we hope will be really helpful to agencies that are applying for funding, that it's, certainly not the only, I don't think, there will always be other data sources to look at as well. We really hope that DataShare can feel like it's a helpful central tool for many of you in that process. So any of these kinds of workshops or ways that we can help build that skill set and confidence to use DataShare, we're happy to partner on.
Thanks, Nicole. And I'm also joined by Sarah Adler, our program analyst. Do you want to introduce yourself, Sarah?
Hi, my name is Sarah. I am a program analyst at DataShare. So I do a lot of the back end building and uploading new data sets, adding reports, and I'm excited to be here with you all today.
Great. Thanks. And we're joined by our amazing interpretation team, Stella and Gisela. Thank you so much for supporting us in the chat and in the Spanish language channel. So just a little bit more about DataShare. For those who are still getting to know the tools, next slide, please. There are multiple tools that you can access. So today we're really going to focus on getting our hands into creating reports. So this is something that you can use as a fact sheet when you're doing advocacy work. This is something that you can pull if you need to make the case for programming, or if you're really just tracking a certain indicator around health or well-being. There's also local progress pages. These are initiatives that have come together across the county to track similar indicators around well-being and to see how their work is impacting well-being across the county. You can access all the indicators at any point in time. So there's over 350 indicators, each with its own source, or some of them all come from the same source, but all the sources are listed as soon as you access them on the website. And then the other interactive tool, we had a training on this tool a few weeks ago, is creating dashboards. So dashboards are particular indicators that you choose that are kind of mini reports to really talk about a particular aspect of your work. So that's what you can find on DataShare. I invite you to explore a little more if you haven't. And we're finishing up next month our learning series for the summer. We'll be talking a little bit more about some of the gaps that we're aiming to fill with local data and how that can build resilience. And I'll speak to this at the end of the call a little more as well. So because we have limited time and we want to make sure that everyone here gets a chance to really get into the tool, what we'll do for the rest of the call is go into breakout rooms. The idea is that in this breakout room, we'll do quick introductions, what kind of report or well-being indicator you're hoping to track, and that you'll come out of those sessions with the tools you need to build a report for your needs. So without any further ado, I think, Sarah, do you want to take it away with the overview?
Yeah, so I'm going to share my screen. And this is DataShare. I'm just going to put the link in the chat in case anyone wants to hop on and follow along. So I'll just give a quick overview of DataShare. Some of your names look familiar, and I think I've seen you at previous trainings. But for those who are new, we'll just do a quick overview of DataShare and how to find data. So as Eva said, DataShare is an interactive data platform, and we have about 400 local, regional, and national data points. So if you want to see, this question came up in the chat, all of the indicators available on the site, if you go to data and then view data indicators by location level, you can see all of the indicators available on the site categorized by what topic they fall under. So it starts with health, and then we'll go into environment, community, transportation, things like that. So that's one way to find data. Also, we have a search function up here, and if you go back to the home page, there's a search bar down here. So like if you wanted to type in, I don't know, let's say you were interested in something with heart disease, if you wanted to type in heart, it would give you the indicators related to that. So that's another way to find data on this site. We also just wanted to highlight a couple things. If you're navigating the site in Spanish, you can view it in Spanish here, the homepage, or if you want to translate the whole site, this translate to button in the top right-hand corner, just select Spanish. You could also select French or German as well. We have the navigation bar here. So I kind of touched on a little bit of where to find data or how to find data that you're looking for. And then we'll go into how to interact with data. So that is both the dashboards that we discussed in a previous training and the reports that we'll focus on for this training. If you have data organizations collecting locally that you're interested in adding to DataShare, we're very interested in that. And you can select this contribute content button and let us know kind of what data you're collecting, and we will follow up and help you make it available to the community on DataShare. We also have current trends. So these are kind of focused dashboards on a specific topic, such as COVID-19 or food insecurity, and these rotate monthly. We also have local progress pages. So these are organization or initiative specific progress pages that kind of look at the indicators that they're tracking and looking at how kind of their organization fits into the work that's being done on a certain topic. We also have resources here. So you can find things like the CAP or strategic plans, stuff like that in the local reports and publications. And then we also have other data sources for you to turn to. such as the American Community Survey, Kids Count, that kind of thing. There's also tutorials and trainings available here. So there's one on just kind of general navigating the site. There's also one on building a dashboard or creating a report. All right, so I know that was a lot of information, but we're gonna start and jump in with creating a report. And feel free to put any questions in the chat and we'll kind of adjust them as I continue through this training. So I'm just gonna select create a report. And if you're following along with me, I just went to data, interact with data, and create a report. So this is the location report builder. And reports are a great tool to tell a story about your community. And you can add in different elements such as like graphs, maps, indicators, and text box to create a nice one-pager report. And they can be shared as a PDF or as a link. So I'm going to walk through an example of building one. And for this example, we're going to go with the scenario of we're going to be implementing, or we want to propose a program of having trained instructors at an after-school program to teach a nutrition class and talk about kind of the importance of nutrition and food security with kids. So if I was to propose this and wanted to bring kind of a one-pager on why this is important, a report would be a great way to do that. So you can either focus on a specific place. So if you select like Ben Lomond or something, then it would just show you indicators and the next step of the process that are available for that place. But I'm just going to select Santa Cruz County to start. And then as you can kind of see here, it gives you these options. So I have indicators, demographics, socio needs index, location, legend, and some text box, and then these like vertical and horizontal lines that can break up your page nicely. So I'm going to start by adding some indicators, and then I'll show you how you can kind of drag and drop things around the page to make it visually look like what you want. So I'm interested in like food and food insecurity. So I'm going to search for food. And then all of these indicators come up around food. So if you're not like totally sure exactly which indicators you want, if you put in the general realm that you're looking for, you have a selection of indicators. So because I'm kind of focused on a nutrition class and food and childhood food insecurity, I want to add this projected child food insecurity rate indicator. So I'm just selecting that. And then there's different ways you can display the data. So if you hover over it, it'll show you what it's going to look like. So you can add it as a chart. You can add these gauges that show if we're better compared to other California counties, if we're better compared to the California value, if we're better compared to our prior value, that kind of thing. You can add different maps, so comparing to other counties, how we're doing compared to our prior value. And also this will just add a text box saying the indicator name that we're looking at. And then you can also add information such as the what is this indicator text box or why is this important, which can help provide a little context to the indicator. So I'm going to add a why is this important text block. And then I'm also going to add this indicator name text block. And let's see, I want to add a change over time graph, but you could select any element you're interested in. I'm just going to select add. And then as you can see, it's going to pop up right here. So I have this information, the indicator name, about a little bit about why it's important, and then a graph. So if you wanted to remove anything, maybe I don't want this big text box that says County Santa Cruz, just click the X and remove it. And then if I want to change the size of anything, like maybe I want to put the map, or sorry, the graph and the description next to each other, I can make these different sizes, and then I can scoot them next to each other and just kind of play around with it like that so it gets to what you want. You could also add other indicators. So maybe I want to show children with low access to a grocery store, and I want to show this, let's see, if you click on it, again, or if you hover over it, it'll show you what it's going to look like. So I'm going to add a map, and then maybe I'll also add a gauge compared to other California counties. So I'm going to add these here. And then if you don't want it, you can just click the X again and remove it. I'm going to remove these. And then you can also add other elements. So if you wanted to add demographic information, maybe I wanted to add something about income. You can add bar charts or pie charts with different demographic elements. So I want, I'll just add this bar chart, the average household income by race and ethnicity. I can add that in here. And then you can add other different elements. If I wanted to add like a map, if I was highlighting, maybe if I was highlighting like a census place or zip code, that might be a useful component to add a map. You can also add a legend. So if you wanted to kind of show different elements of the indicator, you could add that in. You can also add text boxes. So if you were proposing a program like this and you had your own kind of little bit of information about the program, it would be a great place to add that. So just gonna put that in there. And then you can mess with it to formatting wise. So you could bold it and you have some of kind of the normal functions that you have in like Word or something here as well. So you could add that in. And then you can also move things around. So again, like if I wanted this program information to be higher, you could move it up there or move it down below. You can also add in the different line elements, which can kind of break up your page, especially if you're talking about a couple different things. You can add in a horizontal or vertical line. There's a lot of information because we want to give you time to practice it on your own. But if you wanted to save this, you can save it as a PDF and then share it, or you can just save the link and you can distribute it to colleagues for opinions or distribute it over email that way. All right. Are there any questions right now, or do we want to return to breakout groups? I know that was a lot of information.
It looks like we don't have any specific questions in the chat that haven't been answered. I'll just say that playing with this is kind of like playing with any other design tool. And you can add as many indicators as you like with the caveat that this is a one-page report. So if you're maybe trying to do a multiple page fact sheet, you know, for legislative advocacy, for example, you would make one page and then you would make another page report to download or to have a shareable link with, so that it doesn't get overwhelming as well. And
I'll just add to that it shows you when you go over the page. So I'll add stuff in and it's telling you that warning, this item extends over a page break. So you can tell when that's happening and then you know.
And then Eva and Sarah, I think I remember that you can do a report for one location at a time. Is that right? Like you wouldn't be able to do a report where you select like City of Santa Cruz and City of Watsonville, that those would basically be two separate reports that you would create if you want to look at different locations.
Yes. And some of the indicators, if they're available at the zip code level, you can show a graph that would show it broken out by zip code. So like it would show the different zip code values. So you could kind of look at Santa Cruz, City of Santa Cruz and Watsonville and Felton, but you would have to find an indicator that's disaggregated by location level. And again, the way to do that is if you go back, I'm just gonna open up DataShare again. If you go to that indicators by location level, if you view data indicators by location level, you can see which indicators can be disaggregated at the zip code level. So it says here which ones are.
Great. And then I'll just answer Haley's question about adding indicators to an existing report. So if you've made a report previously, that's a report that you own, and I think you can continue to, oh, you figured it out. Great, thanks, Haley. You can continue to edit it because it's you own it. So you can do whatever you like with that report, add to it, change it, etc. Yeah. Great. Okay, well, I think unless there's any other questions that might be helpful for the entire group, let's go into our breakouts and walk through this together so that you can feel a little more comfortable with the team.
And Eva, how much time do you want for the breakouts?
Let's do 20 minutes or 25 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, you'll see a countdown timer for 23 minutes, and then you'll see the warning that you've got 2 minutes to wrap up before everybody automatically gets sent back here.
Great.
And so some of you will automatically get sent to a breakout room. Some of you are going to stay here. This will serve as a breakout room for those that stay here in this main room.
Great.
Okay,
You all
here we
soon.
go. Okay, I think everybody has made it to their rooms. Can I ask everyone, can you either turn your cameras on briefly or type something in the chat so I know who's actually still here versus who might have stepped away? Hello.
I didn't get assigned to a group.
Me neither.
Yeah.
So this will basically be a breakout group. So I'm keeping some of you here to I'll be the facilitator for this one. Okay, thanks to Jenny and Vanessa for saying hello in the chat. So we have a couple options about how we do this breakout. Either we can pick a topic together and I'll share my screen and we can kind of walk through and you tell me like, ooh, let's add this and let's add this. So we can create a report together. So we can just kind of like crowdsource it and create one together. With me doing the selecting based on what you suggest or what you request. Or you can each, I don't know what you're all looking at on your devices. If you actually want the hands-on experience, you each can do your own, and then we can take turns sharing screens to see what you came up with. And if you ran into any questions or got stuck on anything, do you have a preference about where we start?
No.
How about why don't we do it? Let's see if we can do both types. Why don't we start with let me share my screen. And let's do this first, because there is a little bit of, kind of learning by doing, like trying different things that sometimes you don't find exactly what you need right away. And so how about we start with you all kind of call out to me or put in the chat like what kind of report you'd like me to build, and then you can see what I'm doing on the screen, and then I'll give you a chance to try that on your own devices to create a report that's more relevant to you. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
Okay, so in terms of location, do you want to start off with looking at countywide, or do you want me to pick a specific area in the county and see what comes up? You can see, even you can select either by zip code. So I see countywide, Santa Cruz County. Okay, that's probably a good place to start, because kind of like what Sarah was saying earlier, sometimes if you start at the county level, like the whole county, then you'll actually be able to see, depending on what type of indicator you choose, which of those data you actually can view at a smaller level by city or zip code. Okay, let me see. Why is this not? There we go. Okay, so now we selected county. Let's look at indicators. So here you'll see again, like there isn't like a menu that pops up yet. So maybe someone want to suggest a topic or an issue that you are interested in that you'd like me to see.
Homelessness.
Homelessness. Let's try homeless first. Okay, so if I type homeless, then we see the indicators that are available are either sheltered homeless, total homeless population, and unsheltered homeless. So let's maybe start with the total. And then we can see what types of charts and graphs are available. So what kind of charts or graphs would you like me to select?
Maybe the age subgroup.
Age subgroup, okay.
Yeah. Compare trend, the graph, or change over time.
Change over time, okay. And then how about we do one of the, why is this important? Just to see what shows up. Okay, so we add, so I think the way you have to do this is you select one indicator at a time, and then the charts, and then you can go back and add more if you wanted. So then here's how it appears. Okay. How about I saw Vanessa suggested senior loneliness. So how about we go and try another one? And this might be one where, again, you'll find that like you might think of it one way, right? And so it's saying that it didn't find any indicators matching my search criteria. So then maybe that's too specific. And so I'm going to start off just seeing, okay, what's available in terms of seniors. And so there are things like people 65 and older living below poverty level, with low access to a grocery store, just the population of people over age 65. So that's not quite what I'm looking for. Let's see,
Maybe
Vanessa, are there
assisted living.
other, I'm sorry, go ahead, Salvador.
Assisted living, like those houses that they put the seniors on. Like how many do we have? Maybe that's one. Assisted living.
Hey, Salvador, I'm having, it might just be the sound on my end. It's a little bit hard to hear what you just said. I don't know if you can repeat that.
Oh yeah, that one.
And Vanessa, I saw the suggestion, maybe seniors living on their own. Oh, Salvador, assisted living. And so, yeah, so you can see like, so I typed in assisted living, and so what comes up, best matches to that are seniors living alone, and then the count. And so let's see what this number is. And then, so Vanessa, of these options for what kinds of charts can be displayed, are there any here that you would be interested in seeing that we should add?
Yeah, let me see. Indicator value maybe.
Okay. This is a good one because this is an example of one that then the data itself is available by zip code.
Mm-hmm,
So even though we started off selecting countywide, so that might be interesting to see. Anything else?
We could look at the map to compare it to the rest of California.
Uh-huh.
good too. Selected locator.
Okay. How about we start with those, then we'll see what comes up. So again, I had chosen the why this is important. I feel like the descriptions that are on DataShare are actually pretty good. Like, there could always be, you might have more context or more locally, relevant information that you would want to add. But for the most part, they're pretty good and nice, concise descriptions of why that data point matters. So here we have, okay, so this was percent of seniors living alone. I'm going to go back and let's also add the number. That might actually have been, no. So I think when I chose indicator value, it was just the percent. So now if we go to living alone, the count, let's add that one. And then see if we can drag that up. Can it allow me? Yeah. Takes a little bit of playing around with, but you'll see. We'll kind of get the hang of it so you can, rearrange it so it's easier to see things all in one place. Let's see if I can resize this a little bit so I don't have to scroll quite as much. There's the map. We lost some of the detail there, I think, if we zoom out too much. Yeah, and Salvador, you're saying that's a lot, a high percentage there. Mm-hmm. And so this is an example where, and you can actually see in this description here, it helps draw a connection to, in terms of the why this is important. Older people living alone may lack social support and are at high risk for institutionalization or losing their independent lifestyle. And yet living alone should not be equated with being lonely or isolated, meaning that just because they're living alone doesn't automatically mean that they're lonely or isolated, but it just is something to pay attention to. And that they might also be experiencing other challenges, related to poverty or disabilities or lack of access to care. Okay, so let me stop my sharing for a moment and just see, are there any questions about what we just went through? Do you all want to give it a try on your own and take a few minutes to try to build a report yourself on a topic that you're interested in?
Sure.
Okay. I'm going to give you a few moments to do that. I'll just play some background music while you're doing that. And then after a few minutes, I'll pause and just see where you all are and if anyone would like to share their screen to show us what you came up with for your report. Okay, would anyone like to share your report? I actually have it set up so that you can share your screens. You can share your screen, show us the report that you created and what you think is helpful about it, and if there's anything that leaves you wondering or wishing that something else was available or you ran into questions about.
Yeah, I can go. What I really wanted was perception of risk, but I didn't see anything with that, which is fine. It's very specific. And I'm also looking for, the increase in alcohol deaths of youth who have been drinking. So I started with what I could find. And I'm also looking for cannabis, which there were no indicators for cannabis except for increase in expenditure. So this is a good visualization for what I would try to be trying to talk about, because it shows like, hey, we're at 35.7% of driving deaths with alcohol involvement, and that is 0.1% off of being the worst the worst quartile of the state. So I guess you can kind of see that here, but putting this number to it is good, and you can see the trend over time is just ridiculous. So then I would be looking for, the age breakdown of this information. That would be the next step. Could you tell me how to look for that?
Yeah, and so if you, let's see, the easiest thing might be, just so you don't lose your report, is open up a new tab in your browser. yeah, open up a new page and
I
click
can't.
on your,
My controls are getting in the way. Hold on.
oh, okay.
You know how Zoom is.
Yep.
There you go.
And then go to DataShare again. So datasharescc.org.
Oh, there it is.
And then let's see, probably the easiest thing to do is go way up to the top in the top right corner where it says search this site and start typing the name of that indicator.
So age demographics.
It was the alcohol impairment. Is that?
Oh, that indicator. Okay.
Yeah.
Alcohol related.
You could probably even just type alcohol so that anything that has the word alcohol in the indicator will pop up. Yeah. So there, if you scroll back up the top, oops, sorry, where it says under indicators, that very first one, community/public safety. If you click on that, that will take you to the actual indicator. Go on down, yeah. Alcohol impaired driving deaths.
Ah! Sorry.
That's okay.
Ah, I pressed back. Okay, there we go.
There we go. So click on the actual indicator name. Was it the alcohol impaired driving deaths that you were?
Yes, this one.
Yes. So click on that. That takes you to, there you go, the actual indicator. And then you can see, because not all indicators in DataShare have breakdowns by age or ethnicity, or so if you scroll back up, and then so you see there's the chart that you were just looking at in your report.
Yes.
Over to the left where it says indicator values change over time. That's basically saying that's the only way that data is available.
Oh, this would be a list if there were more.
Otherwise, yeah, if it were available where you could break it down by age range, it would list it there as an option to view.
Okay.
So that is the thing, and sometimes that is one of those things that sometimes you only kind of know by actually looking at the indicator at these charts. Is like, okay, what are the different ways that it can be broken out? A lot of that is dependent on the original data source, whether they provide the data in that way.
Oh, cool. That's cool that there's a link to the source, so then you can take it a step further if you want.
Yeah.
All right. Thank
exactly.
you. Yeah, what I'm actually looking for, which I don't think I would find on DataShare just based on what I've seen today and whenever I've looked at it, is how COVID is impacting, the increase of alcohol and SUD related deaths. But we'll see, right?
Yeah, and I would say, if any of you know of, like, if there are indicators that you see that you're interested in, that don't exist yet on DataShare, and if you know of a data source that is collecting that information, feel free to pass that on to Eva and Sarah, because there is that possibility that, and it's kind of this continuous effort that as we learn of or find other data sources that kind of meet certain criteria for being like, reliable, credible data, that they can actually be added to DataShare.
Is the community assessment project considered reliable?
Yes, and I think that is, there are some indicators from the community assessment project that are on DataShare, but I think that that's still like kind of a process and a discussion that's happening about getting everything from the community assessment project onto DataShare.
Yeah, that perception of harm to provide alcohol and cannabis to minors is one that we monitor closely.
Yeah. Thank you, Karina, for sharing, and that was great to see the report that you developed and hear you talk through, kind of why that was important and what else you would be looking for. And we just we're starting to see some people come back from their breakouts. But if anyone else in this group wants to quickly show us the report that you came up with, feel free to share your screen. Salvador, did you feel like you were able to find things and create a report? with some indicators that you're interested in?
Yeah, I did some on cancer. So what I've figured out too is that the demographics is pertaining to the county-wide, so the whole population is not related to the indicators, right? So like if you get like the race and ethnicity, it's gonna show the race and ethnicity for the whole population, not specific to the issue that you're talking about, right?
Right, right.
But that works out. Thank you.
Anyone else in the group that stayed here want to share or say something about what you were able to find or not find in your report?
I can go ahead. I have my report in another computer, so
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out how to put it in this Zoom, which is another computer. But I was able to gather, living alone information and the people, seniors with independent living difficulties, which has given me a good trend in terms of the map and the change within time and the values and the change within time. So that's good. I thank you and I appreciate your support. And I was just wondering if there's a way that you could also add in some of your data that you've collected into this report. Is there a way to do that?
It's a good question, and maybe and thinking that maybe either Sarah or Eva can answer that. But before you do, I just want to let everyone know that's returning from a breakout that you'll need to reselect a language channel to make sure that you're again able to hear and we're all able to hear you. So reselect either English or Spanish for the interpretation channel. Eva or Sarah, do you want to answer that question about whether agencies can add their own data to their reports?
So you can't in the sense of like adding it to Excel and like how you can do that and create a visualization. But if you were interested in adding your agency's data to DataShare, we are definitely interested in showcasing more local data, and I'll put the link in the chat for the best way to contribute content to DataShare. But if you wanted to add like narrative through a text box, you could do that. And you could also, if you had like external visualizations that you wanted to add, you could drag and drop those into a text box.
And I'll jump in. One, I want to apologize to my breakout group because we got cut off. We were getting into the weeds, but I think that some of the questions that were being raised will be really important to share in this group. So thank you. In terms of the question around, I think it was Vanessa that asked us as we were all rejoining, can I add my agency's data to this report? You can in text format. So in those text boxes, but you wouldn't be able to add an image or your own chart. So you can add it in text box, or you can send us your data, we'll upload it, and it will become an interactive indicator available to anyone on the platform. Obviously we need to have some rigor around the data that we upload. But if, we can coach you through the data, you can coach us through your data so that we can best understand it. And then we can find a way to put it on the platform so that it's accessible to everyone and fill those gaps. So that's the link that Sarah just shared around contributing content. And we will send that out. It's also on the website. So it's a Google survey where you can add your data. But if it's not straightforward to you, we're happy to jump on a call or walk you through any way that makes sense. So in these last few minutes, we were in the middle of a conversation in my group. I'd just like to share that insight or have the person from my breakout group, if they're willing, just share their big question around their report. So we were building a report around families and playing a little bit with indicators. So I don't know, Detron, if you're willing to kind of share that big question that we were working on towards the end of our call.
Sure. Thank you for letting me be the practice. It was helpful just even identifying the key term of family. There was more data indicated than what I was looking or searching for. So for us, we started with family living below poverty level. And when you look at that data, immediately you see a drop down in the rate. So, but it doesn't quite match what's going on in the ground. We know that a lot of families, and this data also stops in 2019. So 2020 and 2021 have been a difficult year, as we all know. So then Ev was able to help us kind of look at the family living below poverty by race and ethnicity. So the moment when we added that set of data, it told a different story that highlighted a high number of Hispanic and Latino families, as well as other group were definitely were in high and experiencing poverty, living below poverty level. So that gave us another set of data. So it just for me showed the multiple entry point or indicator that I can have in that report. It could tell a better story than just staying at the one, you know, the immediate one, saying, oh, that's great, we're doing successful. But knowing, working in the ground, I know that's not true. So it was a mismatch, but it helped me to tell a better story. So that's what I could share. And just having one of your team members to help us walk through was really helpful, kind of took the intimidation factor out of it and be able to get the data we want. So thank you for the opportunity to be your practice. So.
Thank you. Does another group want to report back, Sarah or Nicole?
I'm wondering if Karina would be willing to share what she found in, or how she created her report, because she had a great example too.
You talking about me?
Yes, I am.
Oh, hold on. Hold on. Sorry. Okay. So my report that I was looking at had to do with, and I heard you talking about current stories and how to tell those. Let's see, location report, there it is. So it's alcohol impaired deaths, driving deaths. And what Nicole, I think, is referring to is, oh, is this not my report? Oh no, that's the indicator.
I think it's, yeah, it's the other tab. There you go.
I learned so much today. Thank you so much for your time. So here's the report. And, you know, we see this, you know, increase, this vast increase in the 2019 is a good date to have here. And then, so this is the indicator card. And we can see over here that compared to other counties, we're in, you know, with California counties, we're in the yellow. But this additional layer here of being able to compare to the distribution of the counties shows that at, you know, with this 35.7 number, we are only 0.1% away from being in the worst 25th quartile for alcohol impaired driving deaths. So I was appreciating, you know, these two different things that are available under this report. With those two things, we're able to actually see how, you know, where we're at, and also see all the red. Anyway, is that what you were wanting me to share, Nicole?
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Karina. And Sarah, do you or your group want to report an insight?
Yeah, sure. Rachel, do you want to quickly share? I know we only have 2 minutes left.
Sure. So I work in maternal, child, and adolescent health, and we are looking at low birth weight, preterm births, teen pregnancies, and such. So this is really interesting to see how we spiked here with low birth weight and then are on our way back down. And I love this, you know, why is this important? I loved putting that in. So that's what we did.
Thank you.
Great, right? Sometimes it's just one indicator that you need to start your story off. So I think that's a great example of that. We do have limited time. I just want to reiterate a couple things. One, we are your resource. Please, when you get our contact information, know that we are more than happy to jump on a call. If your agency thinks this would be a great resource for multiple people or multiple of your colleagues, we're happy to do agency-based trainings. If you can please respond to the survey, you know, this really helps us. It's just up on the poll here and we'll send it out as well. Email us with any questions and let us know if we can be of any help with contributing of data. Robin put something in the chat around, you know, what about gaps in terms of who gets counted? So it's great to know the data sources. You know, if it's the census, especially last year, you know, the last time we did the census under a different administration, there was a lot of intimidation and fear, so a lot of people wouldn't have been counted. So those are components that are really important to highlight. And if your agency or program has more drilled down information, that is the kind of information that we want to be able to share around our county, keep it confidential and safe for those involved, and make sure that we are showing the true picture, as Dutron helped highlight in the report we were talking about with families in poverty. Everything is recorded and will be sent out, as well as a post survey. If you could please finish by helping us with this survey that's on the screen, we would greatly appreciate it. Thank you, Nicole and Team Core, our interpreters, and Sarah for your fearless leadership in figuring out all the data components and being inside of DataShare. And thank you all for your commitment to making data-driven decisions for those you serve and for our community.